Okay, I'm Tim Scoggins, Chairman of the Shaftsbury Select Board, and I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:30 on Monday, August 3rd. I welcome all the members of the public that are out there. This is more than we're used to seeing, and we're glad about that. I would ask everyone who is not speaking to mute their computer or phone if they're able to keep the background noise to a minimum. We would appreciate that. First item of business, I need to check with the board and see if anyone has a conflict of interest with anything appearing on the agenda this evening. Art.
I do not.
Ken Harrington.
No.
Tony.
No.
Joe.
No.
Tim Scoggins said no, so there are no conflicts of interest. We have minutes to approve from our last meeting that were circulated. That meeting was on July 20th, if I recall. Yep, meeting minutes from July 20th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes that were circulated?
So moved.
Moved by Art.
Second.
Seconded by Ken. Any discussion, questions, additions to the minutes? Question then is, do we approve the minutes for July 20th as circulated? Art.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Tim votes yes, so those minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0-0. Next up is warrants. Please bear with me as I bring these up. Whoops. And they vanished. Hang on. Okay, on your screen is payroll warrant number 2 in the amount of $24,898.81.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Art,
Second.
second by Tony. Any discussion on the payroll? Question then is, do we approve the payroll? Art,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Tim votes yes. So payroll warrant number 2 in the amount of $24,898.81 is approved 5-0-0. Pardon my clumsiness here. Okay, next I have check warrant number 5 in the amount of $35,846.45.
So moved.
Motion approved from Art,
Second. Second.
second by Tony. Dave, what is this?
Well, we can go down. We have the lorries, we have repairs to a fire truck. There was an air leak, $16.81. The next one is $1,200. We have, that's the pager system they use. It's an app for their phones. That's how they page out the fires. Next large one is Innovative Surface Solutions, which is the chloride. Morse repair for $3,000. That was for truck one, the dump bed piston went. Several here for Ray Polter Kennel, covering 3 months. Sycamore Landscaping, that does the maintenance in the cemetery, for $2,083. BLCT, our workman's comp, is $4,411 for the year. Wallingford Cruststone, $2,500. Daly's, $1,807 and $1,300, all for stone. A&K Agri Services, $600, $900, and $200 for trucking. Let's see. A business card services, $2,010, which was a box of stamped envelopes from the post office, and that's how we charge through our orders to WB Mason, is through the credit card. And then there's a variety of Comcast bills, normal monthly bills from there.
Okay, as you see, I'm having trouble holding that that image on the screen. Dave, would you remind me the check number and the amount?
So check warrant number 5, and the amount is $35,846.45.
The discussion. Okay, the question is then, do we approve check warrant number 5? Art?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Tim votes yes. So check warrant number 5 for $35,846.45 is approved 500. And Dave, can you tell us what the third warrant is rather than have me stumble around again?
That wasn't a third one. It was the second page of the check warrant. There was only 2 warrants.
Okay, that's the trouble I was having. Couldn't get both pages up at the same time. Okay, good. So we're done with warrants. Okay, item 5 on the agenda is announcements. Does anyone have any announcements?
I have a brief one from the Census Bureau. Bennington County is far behind in the people doing their census forms, I should say. So they're going to begin doing the door-to-door for those who haven't submitted their forms. So we can make this a lot easier. If people would just go online, you can do it online and fill out your census forms. That would make them happy. There's also jobs available at Census in the weekend doing those door-to-door things. So you can look that up online also.
Okay, I have 2 announcements. First one I've mentioned several times. I'm going to keep mentioning it until after the election, and that is that the polling station in Shaftsbury has moved from the firehouse on Buck Hill Road to the Newtown Garage on North Road. And we have done this in order to have more space to spread out and respect social distancing, as we are all trying to do during the pandemic. In conjunction with that, we are urging everyone who can and is willing to vote by mail. And you can, I think everyone by now has received from the state a card that you can send in to request a ballot by mail. And we're urging everyone to do that. We want to minimize the traffic at the polling station as much as we can. And I'm told by our clerk that people have responded in great numbers to that. We have received, I'm not sure if she said 900 plus requests for absentee ballots, or that she had received that many ballots. But the way things are going, we're going to have more absentee ballots in the primary election than we're used to getting regular votes in the primary election. So that's all to the good. The other announcement is we've recently lost a member of the Developmental Review Board, Chris Panesi, who has served there for a number of years and has been a great help. He is an engineer and he has brought an important technical perspective to the board, but he is moving to Manchester. So a place is opening up on that board, and so they are hurting for members on the DRB. They are down to 4 members with no alternates. So if you would like to serve the town in that capacity, just let us know by contacting Dave Kiernan, which you can do by email or phone, and you can find out his contact information on our website, shaftsburyvt.gov. In the same token, the Planning Commission is running on 4 cylinders and have been for quite a while. They're used to having, they would like to have 5 members. It's a 5-member board, and they have 4, and we would like to see them get up to speed also. So by the same token, if you would like to serve the town in that capacity, let David Kiernan know. Okay, item 6 is public comments. I see a number of members of the public on the line, so now is the time to make your comments. If everyone who wants to comment would, if we're going to have a lot, maybe the easy thing to do is to turn on your camera and raise your hand, and I will acknowledge you as best I can.
Chairman Tim, this is Ken Coonrad. I'm not on camera. I'm just on
All
my
right, Ken, go
phone.
ahead.
And I do have just a few comments I'd like to make.
Okay.
Now good?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to, I think most of you know I've stepped down from being the cemetery superintendent as of the end of July. And I just wanted to express my appreciation to the members of the select board who have presided for the last 10 years. And I especially want to thank Dave Kiernan, who has been a great counsel, a great supporter. We have counseled a number of issues that have come up and worked through them, I think, quite adequately. And I really appreciate the cooperation from everybody. And I can't say enough about the ease of communicating with Dave and the select board. So I'm very, very grateful for the pleasure of working for the town of Shaftsbury as a superintendent of cemeteries. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Ken. Let me just say personally, I have appreciated very much your service for the town and your friendly attitude and the way that you've approached everything relative to the cemetery with a can get it done attitude. I've never had any serious worries in that department because I've always felt that you had it under control, and I appreciate that very much. Do you know how many years you have been?
10 years.
10 years. Very good.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ken, this is Art Whitman. I really appreciate the level of professionalism that you brought to the job. Thank you very much for what you've done.
Thank you for those comments, Art. I appreciate it.
And this is Tony. Thank you so much. So much. What are you going to do? We're going to miss you.
Well, I'm going to slow down a little bit. Have some health issues that I need to baby a little bit. So thank you for those fine comments, Tony.
Good. Take care of yourself, please.
Yes, sir.
It's Ken Harrington. I want to add to what everybody else has said. Appreciate what Ken has done and did a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And this is Joe Barber, your neighbor.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for your 10 years. What were you thinking? You're a great man. You've been a great neighbor, too. And I'm sure Julie Hendrickson really misses you, too.
Thanks an awful lot. Appreciate it.
I'll let her know that you said hello.
Okay, thanks.
Julie was her neighbor.
All right. Continuing in the same vein, our next item of business is a service presentation to Jerry Madison. Jerry Madison has been serving the town for some 15 years as a volunteer firefighter, as fire warden, and as emergency management director. I first met Jerry when he was volunteering, when I first moved to town 10 years ago. And it wasn't one of those things. We were setting up for a big truck night at Shaftsbury Elementary, and Jerry was there helping us set up. That's just the kind of guy he is. He has served this town every time we have asked him to for, as I say, for at least 15 years, and done things that we probably don't all remember. Jerry, if you can see, if everyone can see, I would like to present you with this plaque, and it says, presented to Gerald Madison for 15 years of service to the town of Shaftsbury as emergency management director, fire warden, and volunteer firefighter.
Thank you very much, Tim. Really
We
appreciate
thank you
it.
very much for all you've done.
Feel pretty grateful to be able to give back to the town that raised me. I can only hope to encourage some more young people to step up and do the same. Very rewarding.
Well said, Jerry, and thank you for your service.
Thanks, Art.
Ken
Jerry,
Herrick,
I had no idea you did so much. I'm impressed.
I got all the jobs that no one else wanted.
Okay. Well, thank you for
Hopefully I
everything.
made a positive contribution.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, I will deliver this to David Kiernan at Cole Hall. Do you think you could arrange to drop by sometime, give Dave a call and stop by and pick it up?
Certainly. Have Dave give me a shout. He's got my number. I'll swing by.
Yeah,
Very
Jerry, I'm
good.
in
Thank you.
7 in the morning every day, Jerry, so anytime you go by.
Okay. Appreciate it, Dave. Thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry, I tried to get a ticket tape parade for you. It's not me.
In the age of social distancing, it's probably not a good idea.
Thanks again, buddy.
Thanks.
Okay, that takes us to item 8, which is the Cemeteries Committee recommendation for a replacement for Ken Coonrad. Dave, I understand you all have been doing some interviews. You're on mute. Dave, you're muted.
I'll let Kathy Cardiff, the chairman of the cemetery committee, handle this part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Cardiff. We had several applicants. We interviewed several applicants, and I think we've made a wonderful choice. He's on this call with us. We can introduce Michael Albans if you approve our choice. Mike is just moving to the area, and we were really impressed with his ability and his interest and his empathy for the job.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, tell us where you come from and why you want to be cemetery director.
Well, I grew up in New York and was a writer and a photographer. Moved out to Montana and ran a ranch for about a dozen years. And came back here. Grandkids started coming out in East Coast, and didn't want to live in the city anymore. So we moved to Elm Street, and then finally found our dream home here on Myers Road. And we just closed this afternoon. It's been a pretty busy day, and trying to cut the grass before the storm comes. And I have had a long history of interest in history, interest in cemeteries, old cemeteries. My wife is a hospice nurse. We've dealt with a lot of families over the years, and full of empathy, full of care for and respect for people. And I think this is a real important job, and it was a way that we can serve the town as well as meet a lot of fine folks. And we certainly want to be here, and looking forward to working with everybody.
Very good. Any other members of the board have questions or comments?
My comment is if the cemetery committee certainly did their due diligence, and if they're very happy and pleased with them, I think I make a motion that Michael be appointed our cemetery commissioner.
We have a motion from Art Whitman that Michael Albans be appointed to cemetery. I believe the correct title is superintendent, Dave?
Superintendent, yes.
Cemetery superintendent. I believe I heard that seconded by Ken. Any more discussion? The question is, do we appoint Michael Albans as cemetery superintendent? Art?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Tim votes yes, so that motion is approved by a vote of 5-0-0. Michael, welcome. Thank you for raising your
Thank
hand.
you, gentlemen, ladies, appreciate being here.
Got some big shoes to fill.
I do understand that, and I'll be leaning on those shoes a little bit in the coming weeks.
Please do.
And also be aware that you're expected to greet everyone with howdy.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
That's one of the job
That's
requirements.
proprietary. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry. No, you cannot address everybody as howdy. That's only for Ken Coonrad.
Only kidding.
Very good. Thank you.
Tony,
Okay, that takes
Tim,
us to-
Tim, may I make just
Yeah,
one
Ken.
quick comment?
Yeah.
I interviewed, or I discussed the situation with Mike several weeks ago before anybody else did. I was impressed with his desire and his really care about cemeteries, his attitude, and I wholeheartedly support his selection. Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike,
Ken.
for coming
Thank you.
forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that comment. Any other comments?
Yeah, Mike, I'll send you a pile of paperwork to fill out tomorrow. Email it to you so you can send it back. Michael will be a town employee, so there's a lot of paperwork for you.
Yes, sir.
We'll start you off right with paperwork.
Okay, item 8. Item 9 is the treasurer's report. Emily Dexter.
I'm actually in my office. I forgot that I don't have a camera on my office computer, so I'll just be a disembodied voice. I did send a couple of reports. Do you have those?
I do. I am bringing up cash flow right now. Give me 1 second to get it on the screen for the other viewers.
If you have any problems with the reports, there's not really much going on. Okay, there it is, yeah. I think we talked about the rebate at the last meeting. Those are coming in at about the same rate I would expect this for a normal year. So also came in as
Melanie, can I interrupt a second? Are you on speaker by any chance?
no.
Okay. Having a little trouble hearing you, but sorry. Go ahead.
Should I be louder?
That sounded better. Maybe if you just hold the receiver closer to your mouth.
No, I'm actually just on. I'm not on the phone. I'm on my computer. I don't have.
Oh, I see.
I'll try and talk louder. I don't have much to say anyway. If you go down, you'll see our cash situation is about $160,000. That is overstated because there's that big check we wrote to North Bennington for water. I believe it's not. Is that correct? Because of the legal situation.
That's right. They have not cashed it.
Right, okay, so that's overstating our cash position. I'm gonna need to keep an eye on that because it's actually below 100,000. If you take that into account, but I will, just do another draw when we start getting close. I don't know where we are with the pamphlets, but as soon as we have one, I will try to get the tax bills out. The other thing we wanted to talk about is that issue that I brought up last time, and that's really more discussion that I hope you guys will leave.
Right, the question of waiving the homestead filing fee. You sent a document around, maybe you could paraphrase it, the pros and cons of waiving or not waiving that fee.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but basically, the flow is just that this, if you're ever going to do it, this would be the year because there has been confusion. So those are all passed. So if we can't incentivize everybody at this point, it'd just be telling some people they're off the hook. But it looks to me like the filing has been acting like a normal year. Okay, yeah, there we go. And we won't know until later whether this is even an issue. The arguments against it are that the timing's already been pushed back. And I don't think it's a good idea necessarily to keep going back and forth because that creates uncertainty. And we have moved towards having the penalty every year. Really, the biggest argument against it in general, although it may not be the argument this year, is that the penalty is to get people's attention, and the irritation of forgetting to file is far greater than the monetary hit you take. Some people get into terrible problems with their mortgage companies. That's far worse than the penalty. And I would hate to see people missing the deadline because there's not a penalty and then getting hit by the irritation of the problems that come into with the mortgage. Really be a big problem. So it's really more, I'm more worried about that than I'm worried about my greater workload. That is a less of a consideration. And my final point down there, and the argument against waiving number 6, tax preparers and professionals know about the law. And if they don't know it, they should pay the penalty themselves.
Okay, we need to make a decision on this. So whether we agree or not on it, I think the appropriate thing here is to somebody to make a motion, and then we can decide if we want to approve it or not.
We can't make a motion in the negative, is that right?
Yeah, no, let's just make the motion to waive the fee, and then if we don't want to do it, we vote it down.
Okay. I make the motion just for the fact I want to discuss it.
Okay, Art has moved that we waive the penalty for late filing of homestead exemption. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ken. Discussion.
I don't think we should waive it. Switching back and forth and all that sort of stuff. Everybody seems to think that it is, you can file for this anytime. You do not have to pay your income tax to file for this. We're assuming that people will not have money to pay income tax and won't be able to do it and all that sort of stuff. That's not the case. This can be filed anytime in a separate document. It does not have to be done with your income tax. So, and it's already pushed off until October. So, and it's a lot of work for Melanie if you don't file. So, I am not in favor of waiving it at this time.
Other comments?
How much is the penalty, Tony? Or Tim?
It's 3% of the homestead rate education tax.
Well, I'll weigh in. I agree with Art. I'm not in favor of waiving the penalty for the reasons that does put a burden on the town. It is extra work. That's why we have the penalty. And the deadline for filing got extended as the deadline for filing income tax got extended. So everyone had plenty of time to get this done. And it's something that everybody wants to do. It's not like there's any good reason except forgetfulness for not doing it. And like I say, if we have the fee, it reminds people that they really want to do this, and that it has been proven to be an incentive to getting it done.
I agree, Tim. Yeah, I'm worried that, if we continue to extend deadlines, people are going to be very confused.
Okay, so then the question is, do we waive the penalty for late filing of homestead exemption? Art,
No,
Tony,
No,
Ken,
No,
Joe.
No,
Tim votes no. So the motion is not agreed to, and the fee, the penalty is not waived. Melanie, do you have anything else for us?
Pardon?
Do you have anything else for us?
That's it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Item 10, emergency management report. Dave, I see you said face mask requirement. We, the town of Shaftsbury, passed a face mask requirement, and I was happy to see that when the governor found out that Shaftsbury had done it, he very quickly decided that he needed to do that for the whole state. We're happy to lead in that way. So there is a state requirement for that. One thing I can add also is that with the state requirement, they have offered that they are making available to each town cloth face masks, free for distribution. And we will receive something close to 900 cloth face masks. They're being divvied out according to population. Initial amount is a quarter of the town population. So we're getting close to 900 of them. We are arranging with local volunteers to hand those out, and we'll be doing that just as soon as we get them. Although Art was telling me, Dave, that you've already got them. You're on mute again.
I keep muting myself. No, we have our own supply of PPE. What I provided today was from our supply. We have not received these from the state. In fact, Eric from the state sent around something I forwarded a few hours ago, or maybe an hour ago, that they won't be distributed for at least another week or so. The face mask.
Okay.
where are they made?
Sorry?
Where are the masks made? Are they made here in town by people in the town, or?
The point of origin I didn't see anywhere. It's all coming from the state, so I assume it's from a large contract they have with a vendor.
I think what Tim was referring to was Dave gave me a box of, they weren't cloth, I guess they were more of a paper type of mask that I left at Paulins so that he could give them to people if they happen to walk in without one.
Okay, Dave, did you have anything else under emergency management you wanted us to talk about?
There is not much change in anything over the last week or so, except for the mandatory mask wearing now. Paul had sent around a brief thing summarizing what's taken place, but pretty much we are still the same. The COVID cases continue to be manageable in the state, and Vermont has the second lowest rate of COVID in the United States. So things are not changing that much. Since June 29th, there have been 129 new cases in the state and 1 fatality as of last Thursday. So things are still going on. There is a pop-up test site in Bennington scheduled for, well, that was scheduled for today, sorry, for next Monday, the 10th, at the Bennington Rescue Squad building. You do have to register online. You can do that by going to ACCD. Let's see, I believe there's a thing coming up. No, that's it. Everything else is the same. For the pop-up testing there is, anyone has any questions on anything, the 2 best sites are ACCD for Vermont or the Vermont Department of Health.
And for those that don't comply with the mask wearing, what are the penalties for that, if any?
The general statutes governing emergency orders have a penalty of $500 and or 6 months in jail for violating emergency orders.
Oh, okay.
I believe that the state, as Shaftsbury did when they instituted our emergency order relative to face mask, is indicated that our intention was not to hire police and send them out to find people without masks. Our intent was to encourage people to voluntarily wear masks. And
there's
also,
no longer a pandemic. There's
Pardon?
no longer a pandemic, and it's not really a big emergency either. We got the lowest numbers in the United States. Not wearing masks mandatory.
Right. And we'd like to keep it that way. And by all accounts, the best thing the general public can do to prevent the spread of COVID is to wear a face mask in public.
Oh yeah, in a crowded area, definitely. Gonna be closer than 6 feet to somebody, you should have one on.
Anything else on emergency management, Dave?
No, that was all I had for that.
All right. Item 12 is an update on the Communication Union District business that I've been involved with. Things have been happening fast and furious. For those who are not living and breathing it like I did, like I do in last year's broadband bill, there was an encouragement for municipalities to band together and form communication union districts and try to figure out how to get internet to folks that don't have it from a grassroots level, because there just has not been the resources at the state or the inclination at the federal level to solve this problem for everyone. We have formed a 10-town CUD district in Bennington that includes just about every town in Bennington, except for a few others. We have the Communication Union District received a grant from the state to do a feasibility study and business plan, and we have undertaken that, and that is ongoing. We have recently the CUD, which has been struggling to cover basic expenses because we were formed, but we didn't have any kind of allocation in terms of funding. We are very happy to say that the Vermont Community Foundation donated $10,000 to the Southern Vermont Communication Union District and to every other communication union district in the state, which has been a big help and allowing us to do some basic stuff that we have long needed to do, like buy insurance that we need to apply for most federal grants and state grants. So we are in the process of making good use of that money. We also recently were made aware of and applied for a COVID relief grant, and this is from the COVID money that came from the federal government to the state. The grant application was through the state. The Southern Vermont CUD was successful in receiving a $100,000 grant in COVID relief money. And the idea there is that doing what we can to accelerate our plans to extend broadband to as many places as we can before year's end. That was one of the conditions on the federal money. The CUD is in discussion about how to proceed with that. The general consensus here is that we will do something that called a pole survey, and this gets kind of in the weeds of designing a fiber optic network. But what it is one of the things we have to do is when you design a fiber optic network or do any kind of utility installation, is you have to go out and look at every single utility pole, find out what's there, how far you would be from the electrical, from other cable providers that are on there, from the table, from the phone line, what the condition of the pole is, how tall it is, how far off the ground you are. It's kind of a tedious piece of work, but something that will need to get done, and we probably wouldn't have done it at this time, but we have this money, and this is we all believe is a good use of that money. The other big news with the CUD is that an internet service company called Tilson made an offer to us to partner with them and two other CUDs, the Deerfield Valley CUD, which is in the Reedsboro, Stamford area and spreading east toward much of Windham County, which will probably end up being the Windham County CUD. Us, them, and the Northeast Kingdom CUD are partnering with Tilson, along with Green Mountain Power and a couple other utilities, electric utilities or electric utility organizations, to bid for federal money that's being released this year through the FCC. This is a big deal. It's $16 billion this year that will be released through the FCC, and it's a very difficult bidding process, one that we've worried about how to get involved in. Thought we would not be able to participate in the end because of the financial and administrative requirements of even applying for it. So when Tilson came along and made this offer, that was quite exciting. So we're hopeful that Tilson, so that we will be able to work with Tilson and utilities to bid on this money and help make the actual construction of extended internet, fiber optic internet in our area, in the Windham area, and in the Northeast Kingdom will be better. We'll be better able to do that with help from this grant if Tilson is successful. So those are the major things that are happening in the CUD. Oh, the other one I guess I should mention is that the existing CUDs, of which there are currently 5, and any minute now there's going to be 8 or 9. Very soon the entire state will be in one or the other communication union district. We have formed an association, a loose association, just so that we can communicate with each other, coordinate our activities, and share ideas. And we are meeting regularly, meeting weekly at the moment with the heads from the other CUDs. So I just wanted everyone to know that we are moving forward as quickly as we can on that front.
Dave, is it still true that there is money available once the fiber optic goes past your place on the road, that you still have to pay to connect it to your house? Is there money available from the state? You spoke to me about that the other day. Is that still a possibility? I should have mentioned that. That is a new program that the state instituted just this last Wednesday, last week. They will
provide up to $3,000 to give to an ISP. Probably we're talking about Comcast, to extend service to your area. That is also part of the money that the state received in COVID relief that's going toward that. There are other efforts going on as well, now that you reminded me of that. Also with COVID relief money, ISPs are being offered money for various projects outside of just extending lines to individual homes, but have been invited to make proposals on how to get internet to people that really need it during this time. Comments or questions? All right, item 13, item 12 is the DPW report. Dave.
Okay, I'll go through the what's been going on lately. On Murphy across Chapella Flats, they're continuing to do ditch work, and they'll be installing some stone pillows throughout the flats to help the drainage in the spring months. That'll take about 2 weeks. They're continuing to seed and mulch the upper section of Murphy Hill and Sally Gannon Road, and they've resurfaced gravel and underdrain on Coulter Road by Peters Flats. There will be work done at Tinkham Road, 2 culverts by the 4 corners of Myers and Tinkham and Coulter to try and eliminate some ponding that goes on there. Grading will be done as necessary. If you've driven around town, the roads are really in very good shape. It's a really nice job the crew's done on the roads. They did fix White Creek Road last week. It had 2 slope failures along the Cold Spring Brook. The parts of the road were beginning to sink towards the river. Mike had a project designed by V-Trans and A&R. We did hire Weaver and one of his large excavators. Weaver does a lot of slope stabilization for the state, so their operator is very familiar with what A&R wants. So they did assist with that project. And the bump on White Creek Road has been fixed. So people will be happy when they don't slam into that anymore.
Finally.
Yeah. And then the
Dave, before you go on, are you talking about the dip on what was the dip on White Creek Road close to Rolland that we patched?
No, this was further down. The dip was more like a bump where the culvert had pushed up and there was a big bump in the road. So they ground it down and repaved it, so it works right now.
Okay.
Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dip to the east is still a project on our to-do list, right?
That's a much bigger project.
Yeah.
Then next week, basically, or the end of this week, they'll be getting the garage kind of squared away for the election on Tuesday. Let's see. Next thing we have is we will be setting up an online link for an auction for the equipment we talked about last time. We'll have that set up by the end of next week, and we'll put that on the web page so that people can bid on some of the variety of things we have out here to sell. The garage was tested for asbestos last week. They really didn't think it was going to be a big deal, but it takes about a week to 2 weeks to get the report back. You've all seen it. There's not much in that building, so there's not much to look for. It didn't take very long. And then we have the Howard Park Drainage Project, which was a high score on the stormwater master plan that the state did put down. So what we have there is a number of different types of projects. I sent the drafts over in the Dropbox. These were designed by Fitzgerald as part of another grant we got the year before. These fixes, and what we'll do is we have a cover sheet and those designs, and we're going to put those out to bid. It is a fairly large project, and it will all be funded from reserve funds that are held by the town or the Board of Public Trustees for use exclusively in Howard Park. This is a normal maintenance project, or maybe not normal because it will be a rather large project, but it's well overdue. Everybody who uses the park knows how wet the park becomes, how much runoff there is, the little swale through the soccer field that needs to be repaired. There's water problems behind the tennis courts and on the basketball courts. So there's a number of different areas they're going to address with that. So with that, I'm just looking for permission from the board to put a bid out for that so that we can get that done hopefully in the fall.
Looking for a motion, Tim?
Yes.
I make the motion that we put this out to bid, since we have designs.
Have a motion from Art to go to bid with the designs for the Howard Park drainage project.
Second?
Second by Joe. Discussion.
Is there anything we can do, Dave?
Is that something we can do?
Yeah.
We probably could do it at the cost of not doing road work. And it will take some time.
Is there any estimate on how long?
I don't have a time estimate on it, no. But this is one of those projects that, frankly, we have the funds in grants, not in grants, but in, actually one was a bequest to the town to be used specifically for the maintenance of Howard Park. And the other is in reserve fund. The parks actually has a large amount of money to spend on the parks, and the cost falling behind on roads, I don't think is worth more in this area.
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, we've got a lot of equipment. I kind of hate to, I understand about the roads, but they're in pretty good shape right now. And I don't know, I mean, I'd like to get an estimate on how long that's going to take. If we were not going to make a detriment to the roads.
My personal feeling is that, one reason why the roads are in good shape is because we're changing the way of doing things and the equipment is out a lot. This will bog down a number of people, even if it's for a week or two. It's prime season out there, and we do have a lot of stone pillows to put in, a lot of ditching, a lot of projects that can continue to go on. This would bring a lot of those to a halt.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that we're not spending money. As long as we got it, not taking away from projects we already got money for.
Yeah, and this money is already dedicated to the parks because it's through, as I said, a bequest specifically for the parks, and it's in reserve funds that have been put aside specifically for use in the parks.
All right. Well, I wouldn't want to get behind on the roads. They're pretty good right now.
Yes, they are a good thing.
Dave, I don't remember in previous talk that we talked about drainage problems by the tennis courts. Is that new, or am I just not remembering it?
If you look on the diagram you have there, there's a little run between the basketball court and the tennis courts, and then it goes down along the back of the tennis courts to run off to the, that would be the west there. And there's a detail further on for the work to be done. It's not major, but it is, this is all impervious surface, the basketball court and the tennis courts, and they needed to run off in the right direction.
Is that going to mean tearing up the basketball or the tennis courts?
No. The tennis courts won't be touched at all. And the basketball courts we're looking to resurface anyway, so anything that happens to them, because that's not in very good shape to begin with.
Is this all surface drainage, Dave, or is it underground drainage?
I believe it's all surface, Ken.
Okay.
There are a couple of culverts involved, but nothing major.
Okay. How long is it? Do you know how many lineal feet?
I don't have that detail up here, and I don't have it handy either.
All right.
Ken, we can, when the bids come in, then we can decide whether it's something we want to tackle or not. We don't have to accept the bids if we think they're too much money, or we can do it ourselves. We can
Well, I
decide.
guess, yeah, we'd have to get Mike involved.
Yes.
But I do have one question well, I'll get to it after we vote on that. So I got a place I think we had to do some ditching.
Okay. We have the chairman of the rec committee on here, if Dina wants to weigh in on this.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Oh, okay, this is good. I would like to talk about the sign, the village park sign.
Oh, that's next on the agenda.
Okay. We'll talk
Oh.
about that next.
Okay, but what Dave was mentioning about that water mitigation project, we had been down there walking and looking, and what he says needs to be done really does need to be addressed. And it's been put off for long enough. It really needs to be done, and try not to dawdle. That's my opinion for what it's worth, as being a member of the Recreation Committee.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dave, is this the same project they were talking about 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, because Fitzgerald came in, this is all part of the stormwater master plan.
Yeah.
This is one of the highest ranking projects, so yeah, we started talking about this about 2 years ago.
It's a trail. It goes down by the park, across the field, and out toward the swamp.
That's one facet of it, yeah.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about now.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we had a drainage problem out at the park before we dug an artesian well and started letting it overflow onto the park. So yeah, we've got to deal with this, and I agree with Dave. We've got the money to do it. We can get it done, and the road crew can keep doing what we hire them to do. Are we in a motion? I forgot where we are.
I thought I made a motion.
Okay, so Dave, you need a motion to put out the RFP. Am I correct?
Yeah, just permission to put out the RFP.
All right. Do we have a motion to allow Dave to submit or to publish the request for proposal for the Howard Park drainage project based on the engineering drawings we have seen?
Yes.
So moved.
Moved by Ken, seconded by Art. Any more discussion? Question is, do we go to RFP with the Howard Park drainage project? Art?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Tim votes yes, so that motion is agreed to by a vote of 5-0-0. Okay, are we ready to go to the renaming of Village/Cleveland Park?
Yes.
All right, Dina.
Okay, before we get going with the Cleveland Avenue Park issue, I just want to ask Dave if the Howard Park sign has arrived yet?
Scheduled to be installed Thursday morning.
Thursday morning? Okay. Now, during our last Recreation Committee meeting, we decided that we would like a new sign for Cleveland Avenue Park also. But what we needed to do, first of all, was take a look at how the Howard Park sign actually came out. And then we were talking about nobody knows the Cleveland Avenue Park as the Village Park, which is what the name is on the sign down at Cleveland Avenue. So what we would like to propose officially is to change the name from the Village Park to the Cleveland Avenue Park. And that's what I would like to bring up for discussion. Thoughts on that? Does that seem like a reasonable idea?
I like the idea of it being called the Village Park only because it includes everybody, you know? I mean, the Cleveland Avenue Park kind of sounds like it's kind of exclusive, but
How many people do you know of that refer to that park as the Village Avenue, as the Village Park?
I
I've
don't know
never heard
anybody
it.
No, neither have I. I've
It's
never
o-
heard anybody call it the Cleveland Avenue Park either. They just call it a park on Cleveland Avenue.
Well, that's the Cleveland Avenue Park.
It's the park on Cleveland Avenue.
Well, we could name it that, the park on Cleveland Avenue.
No.
What do you think, Dave?
Well, that's
Since
why,
you're involved in,
because to change the name, we do need board approval. Nobody seems to know. That sign, frankly, I didn't notice it said Village. I always called it Cleveland Park. I think it's correct that I've never heard it referred to as Village Park, but yet that's what the sign says. Discussing with Dina, I didn't think it was a decision that can be unilaterally made by the rec committee to change the park's name. So
right.
I suggested we bring it to the board to decide whether or not we're going to change it to the Cleveland Avenue Park.
For the sake of discussion, I'm going to move that the board change the name of the park on Cleveland Avenue that is now referred to as the Village Park, and that be renamed the Cleveland Avenue Park.
We have a motion from Art to rename Village Park to Cleveland Avenue Park.
Second.
Second by Ken.
I think if the rec committee wants it, I think it should be done.
Thank you.
The motivation, Dina, for doing this is that nobody calls it the Village Park. Everybody calls it the Cleveland Avenue Park.
That's right. If you refer to the Village Park, they go, what Village Park? And we go, the one on Cleveland Avenue. And they go, oh, the Cleveland Avenue Park. The one.
Okay.
On Cleveland Avenue.
That's it. We could call it the Village Park on Cleveland Avenue.
Yeah, we could do that too. Do we have to pay for Dave for more letters?
Yeah, if it's by the letter, that'll be a much bigger sign.
By the letter, it's going to cost more.
Yeah, we can't afford a sign that big, can we?
No, it'll be very low. Can I ask a question about usage at Howard Park? I have been contacted by one of the librarians at the library.
Dina, let us settle Cleveland Park before we go on to Howard
Oh,
Park.
okay, I'm
Change
sorry.
the subject.
Okay.
You gotta vote.
Any other discussion?
Well, I'm just wondering how, I mean, I'm not against renaming it. I'm just wondering how necessary is it to rename it?
Well, Joe, it comes down to the sign. If you've noticed it there, which is easy to not notice because it's so faded and worn, we really just wanted to replace the sign, and then we noticed the sign says Village Park, and none of us recognize it as Village Park. Everybody refers to it as Cleveland. So if we're going to make a new sign, we figured we should settle what we should actually call it. And the whole motivation started by just wanting to replace the very worn old sign that's there now.
The one that nobody notices.
The one that nobody notices, yeah.
No, it just blends right in.
I must say, I didn't notice it. I didn't know that it was ever referred to as Village Park.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, the question is, do we change the name of Village Park to Cleveland Avenue Park? Art,
Yes.
Joe,
Sure.
Ken,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Tim votes yes, so that motion is agreed to by a vote of 5-0-0. All right, Dina, you wanted to make a point about Howard Park?
Yeah, I had a question about Howard Park. Last week, I was contacted by one of the librarians from the McCullough Library, and she was asking about possibly using the park for a small storytime activity for the children. And she said they would be practicing absolute good protocol in terms of masks and social distancing. They would have defined spaces set up where they would be sitting. And she was wondering if there was a maximum number of people that could be there. Because she said if there's a maximum number that she's working with, everybody has to sign up for this activity anyway. And so she would be able to control the number of people that were going to be showing up. She says it usually takes about a half hour. It would be story reading, and the kids would be there with their moms or whoever's going to be there with them. And she was talking about possibly getting like hula hoops and having the kids and the group sitting within the hula hoop or some other type of defined area. And so everybody would be separated. They would be wearing their masks and just making sure that everybody was safe, but at least they would be getting an activity from the library. And I said, I'll look into it and get back to you. Because believe it or not, I also got another call this morning from a young woman asking about the use of Howard Park for September, some point in September. So again, I called her back, left a message, and told her I would get back to her. So that is the question that I have for you. If we have any kind of use of Howard Park, what are the restrictions on it?
Well, we have, I don't think we've set any formal restrictions. We've been in communication with some of the other towns about this. Dave, can you refresh my memory? There was something that came up recently. Wasn't there that somebody wanting to use the park? And I can't remember what we decided about that.
Yeah, the last one we allowed, I forget who it was, but they wanted to have an organizational meeting. There were about 20 or so people there. We allowed them to do that, and we agreed that we probably didn't want to do that again. It depends now. The library, and I hate to bring it up this way, but I don't know why, because this isn't the first group that has been turned down by other towns that has asked to use one of our facilities. In fact, on other business, I'm going to bring up another group that wants to use another building in town. And it's just, why do they want to use Howard Park? Have they been turned down by, because I know other groups have been turned down by Bennington. It has the library, which has a park up the street. Is there some reason they can't use that park? Or we're not going to have functioning bathrooms. We could go through a whole design thing and see exactly what they want to plan, but they have to maintain the 6 feet. They have to keep groups separate from each other. It's just the way it is.
Well, the group,
rules, but I wonder too if they have asked anyone else and they've been turned down, and that's why they've come to us again.
I can find out, but I know that the young woman said that the groups of kids would be separate. Nobody would be in contact with anybody. They'd be sitting on the lawn. It's not even that they're going to be under the pavilion or anything like that. Everybody will be spread out. So if 20 is the number, or 16, or whatever the number is, then that'll be the limit. And they're only going to be there for about a half hour, 45 minutes. It's a story time activity.
Yeah, I could probably set the limit for the square footage there, set the limit, and it can be done if they follow the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they can
Yeah,
spread
there's
it.
plenty of room. Probably more than North Bennington.
Oh,
the
yeah.
only other park I could think of is Willow Park.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be great.
Well, you've got the backside of Lake Perrin, Wellings Field. It's huge open space. And it's got a lake.
It's nothing as cozy as Howard Park. It really is. It's a lovely park.
Yeah.
And everybody that uses, the larger groups before the pandemic struck, always loved it there and always said, wow, this was the best. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's private, and we just feel like it's our own backyard.
Just remind people of the rules.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God the pandemic's over.
Yeah, if the board wants, I can work with them on rules to set it up, and with Dina to set it up.
So I'll give her.
Yeah, we're going to have to cap it at a reasonable number.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Bart?
Yeah, I think we need to make a motion just to get, so we got some discussion going. I make the motion that Howard Park can be used by other people as long as Dave sets up the criteria by which they meet there and follow the rules, okay? It's too nice of a park to say it's just ours.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I could interrupt you, your motion there, Art, maybe what we need is an action item for Dave to establish rules for
Okay.
usage of Howard Park by outside groups.
That makes sense, and then we can vote on that, okay?
And then we can come back on that. Do you know the time frame of this request, Dina?
Yes, it's going to be, I think, either the 23rd or the 25th of August. It's at the end of the month.
We have time to write rules, and we should meet again and approve the rules, and then Dave can assign the use of Howard Park the way he would in non-COVID times. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I withdraw my motion, and I think it's best that the board stand behind Dave's recommendation. So it's important that we vote on what Dave recommends, okay? So that we stand behind him.
Yeah, I'm agreeable. This is a little different from what we were asked before, where they wanted to have some sort of induction ceremony, and they wanted to do it in the pavilion, which had adults in a closed space. But kids, out in the field, if they're all 6 to 10 feet apart, we can have 100 kids out there, and it could be safe. I'm not suggesting that's the right number, because they're all going to funnel down to the exit, which is only 6 feet wide at the same time, of course. But I think we can start to think about allowing that kind of thing to happen.
Okay.
So without objection, we'll add that as an action item for Dave to establish rules for usage at Howard Park, and we'll vote on that next time.
So the next meeting. And when will the next meeting be?
We'll be on the 17th.
17th?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And if talk to the people that want to do this, and if that's not convenient, we can meet next Monday on the 10th.
All right,
for
I will
meeting to approve the rules.
Okay, I'll give the librarian a call tomorrow morning, and give her the information that I have. And if everything works out fine, then we're good to go. I can have her contact Dave after we take a look at the rules that you're going to be coming up with.
Yeah,
It sounds good.
Ballpark. If she can give us a ballpark about how many kids normally come to one of these things, would be really helpful.
Right.
Same with the other group we talked about, whatever they're planning in September. They can give us what they're talking about. That would be helpful.
Yeah. So we have an idea of who's going to be at the park and how many people are involved in this.
And the biggest drawback for most of this is that we don't have the staff to maintain the facilities at what the CDC is recommending, which is hard surface fuel cleaning, which we just don't have.
No. But like with the kids, if they're only going to be there for half hour, 45 minutes or so, I really don't think they're going to need the facilities.
No.
If they plan well.
They plan well.
If they plan well. Yep. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, and I would suggest maybe we should think seriously that the facilities need to be available. Talking about 8-year-olds planning their trip to the bathroom, I'm not sure that's all that plannable.
I could go down and open up the bathrooms. I'll open up one bathroom.
Yeah, it's like Dave said. The real question is our resources for cleaning it before and after usage. That's really the thing.
Yeah. All right. We'll figure it out as we go.
How about getting a UVC light wave over stuff to disinfect things.
Oh, I like that idea.
I
Like
don't
I
have,
think- Yeah, I think what we're going to be looking at is hiring a service to do this. We don't have anybody to do it.
let me look
So
into it,
we-
figure out what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it was commercial, I would say we would, we'd be needing to charge a fee for this. If it's for the library doing it for kids, we might find a way to cover that.
Yeah, that would be great. So that's what I had to ask about park usage. But I would also like to say, in behalf of the Recreation Committee, that we would like to publicly thank the North Shaft Lions for the contributions that they're making to Howard Park. Even though we know you guys didn't have a fundraiser, and so you have like zip funds, you are willing to donate your time, your talents, in order to make the park look really good. And I know that Art and Dave are working on the flagpole project, and what that's going to entail is a new flagpole, and we are going to have a new American flag. And thanks to our Recreation Committee member, Barb Marino, she has been in contact with Representative David Durfee, and he has obtained a Vermont state flag that was flown over the State House in Montpelier that he's going to be sending us. So we're going to be in possession of a state flag also, which I think is just wonderful. And Bud Krasik is building 2 benches for the park. And Ray Cox is helping Art to organize a work committee because the pavilion is also going to be painted. So there's an awful lot of stuff going on down there. A lot of donated time and energy and sweat. And thank goodness that the park funding is in very good shape. So we are providing the fundage. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your dedication to Howard Park, our community park that we love, and all the work that you do for us. And we just thank you.
You're welcome.
Dina, would you send me that list of volunteer projects?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I will do that. Okay, we're good?
Anything else on parks?
I don't have anything.
No,
All right.
Well, you
Thank
should,
that's
you
it.
should think about an amphitheater for Howard Park.
Oh, ooh, I like that.
That, Tony. An amphitheater for Howard Park.
We'll put it on the list.
Well, I mean, it's affordable. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if you get a small one.
How small.
All right.
We're good?
Moving on to item 14, update on the new fire truck.
That should be delivered by the end of the month. And hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have the trade-in shipped off to Missouri. I thought Joe was on vacation. I forgot that this week, so I thought he would be able to add a little bit more to this. But we are buying a few add-ons to the truck, not really add-ons, a radio for it and a water cannon for it, which are pretty standard items. They don't come in this package, so we're adding them on now. But that's all coming out of the truck reserve fund, which will be fully reimbursed when we receive the money for the sale to Missouri of the one we're trading in. Because as you remember, we're getting $105,000 for that truck, so that'll cover these additions. The actual purchase price for the truck is all coming out of the reserve fund as we have now and are funded this year. So by the end of the month, we'll have a brand new fire truck.
Paid for. Paid for even.
Paid, completely paid for. So that'll be nice.
Dave, that's impressive, the way you've been able to do that on all this stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's worked out well. And as soon as this is done, we're going to start saving for the next one. And,
Yep.
We'll be paying for that in cash too. So we'll be set for that. So that's good. So that covers that.
Okay, item 15 is ordinance proposal, no through trucks on Hawks Avenue neighborhood complaint. Tell us what that's about.
Yes, I had a gentleman complain, and I've seen it too, of trucks driving down. What they do is they're coming down White Creek Road, and they use Hawks as a shortcut over to 67A. Especially when the pits are open, there's a lot of tandems and a lot of dumps bringing material along the road. The gentleman admitted that because a lot of people on the street are home because of the COVID situation, working from home, they're all noticing the high volume of trucks on the road. They have called the state police, they've called the sheriff's office, they've called the DMV enforcement unit, because the road is, as all second and third class roads, a 24,000 pound maximum. An empty tandem already exceeds that. So you have, none of those agencies are going to enforce it. It's very difficult just to go out and write a summons for an overweight vehicle without having a scale unit. So one thing that's done in a number of places is you have the weight restriction, and then you add on, you can have an ordinance based on that for no through trucking. And that would force the drivers to stay on White Creek to go over to that corner in North Bennington. And of course, that's a difficult corner for truckers since they improved it. And that makes the Hawks Ave cut through a lot more popular. There's only been one single complaint, but there is a way to remedy it. I did suggest to the caller that a lot of ordinances are passed because there's a neighborhood petition outlining what they want, and I suggested he work on one of those. I don't have that yet, and this has only been going on a week. So perhaps they are working on it, I can find out, but this is an option on the table. I sent around a very nicely written paper from, I believe it was Williston, that explains how the process works. But it is a way of stopping food trucks on that street.
Can I ask, are the trucks speeding? Is it a speed problem? Or is it just the fact that it's a truck?
I think it's probably the fact of a rumbling large truck just going up and down the hill, and a lot of them during the course of a day. I can't imagine, especially a loaded truck, being able to garner much speed from either direction, knowing they have to stop at the other side.
Fox Avenue is kind of a narrow road anyway. It's
What's
not
that?
very wide. It doesn't have a breakdown lane, it's very narrow.
Yeah.
Joe, if you
Yes.
look at what you've got to do to take a left at that corner, go down to North Bennington, go around that corner, you've got a lot more room on Hawks Avenue than you do trying to go through that nightmare of a corner in North Bennington. I'm against, you're forcing people to go through an area that is just not feasible, and I'm against an ordinance at this time. The road is not breaking up any more than any other road is, so it's not the fact that we're destroying the road. They aren't speeding. It's just that people don't like trucks, and I think everybody has to make a living.
Well, I agree with you there. I'd like to know why they continue to keep the road the way it is over, in the center of town. Why? They know it's a failed system. Why do they keep it?
If I knew, I would do something about it, but I've fought it for years.
The other thing we got to think about, if you make an ordinance on that road, what are you gonna do about fuel trucks going up and down that road?
They would not be.
You gotta get deliveries in there for houses.
Yeah, that's why you take the weight ordinance, you have exemptions, and you base the ordinance on it, whether or not it's through trucking. A truck that makes a delivery is not in violation of the ordinance.
The thing is though, Dad, because I've driven fuel delivery trucks, and normally what they'll do is they'll try to group all the deliveries together. So in other words, they'll try to make all the deliveries on that road in one day that they can.
Yeah.
That's not one company, that's every company.
Yeah. No, and that would be fine because they're not through trucks. They're making deliveries.
I was gonna say, if they have a contract.
Yeah, if they
I
pull
know
up.
what I'm saying about that other turn when you're coming off the White Cliff Road and you go up underneath the road is now, but when you go back to 67, that's a bad turn for a big truck.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees with that. But as Art said, there's no change prospect there.
Yeah.
Dave, you said it is a fact that these trucks are violating the load limit on that road, correct?
Well, we also don't have a specific ordinance for the weights. By state law, second and third class roads are 24,000 pounds, and you need a weight permit over. And the board never adopts a weight restriction just for these kind of issues. Trucks going down roads, and we have farming trucks, we have all kinds of trucks on different roads, but we can have weight restrictions. This would be a very targeted ordinance that would have to get some legal review to specify Hawks Avenue as 24,000 Class B road, and then have a ordinance on top of that for no through truck. Not simple, but it can be done. And like I said, I've had a request. I've asked them to try and get a petition so that we have some idea of how many people are really concerned about this. Because frankly, I don't know. It's just the one person so far, but I thought it was something that should come up because it is, and I don't think the issue is going to go away.
If truckers are going to look for other ways, and the next place that they're going to go is Elm Street. They're going to turn in Lamb's Corners, go up over Elm Street on a dirt road that's even narrower down the other side to get to the White Creek Road. That North Bennington is just if you're driving a truck, you have to be a bully, and it is just not pleasant because nobody gives you any room or anything. You got to bull your way through, and it's not a pleasant thing. And I think we're it's all it is they're just against trucks, and I think that's wrong.
And I agree with Arden because I'd already thought of the prospect of them starting to turn up Elm, which is a gravel road, not the paved road Hawks is, and they will destroy that road if that's the road they take for an alternate. So we kind of would have to move an ordinance up to the next road, and people will do that. We already have lots of commuters cutting across all those roads to get over towards Daly's and to cut up into Arlington. So
Is this a new phenomenon or just a new complaint?
I'm not so sure it's a new phenomenon. It is a new complaint.
People have been using that as since all the water lines been going in, all the gravel coming out of Barney's and Gully's pit. It's been going on for at least the last 3 years. This has been going on for a long time. And I think it's just somebody moved in and is objecting to it.
I am not hearing any inclination on the board to act on this right now. Dave has instructed that the complainant should talk to his neighbors, see if they want to sign a petition and bring it before the board. So unless anyone has another thought, I say we do not act on this at the moment.
The other thing is, Tim, some towns in the state of Vermont, I think Manchester is one of them, that if you have an overweight truck, which, most trucks are overweight empty, you have to go and make out a form and you give it to the select board, and you can get a permit from any select board in any town. It's a paid for the board, it's a paid for the trucking company, and Shaftsbury's never had it. The only town around here that I know has got it is, Manchester. In Bennington. You have to pay them, fee for getting the permit every year.
I can answer that. I get a permit to travel on Shelburne, roads in Shelburne and Benson every year. It's a $10 fee. They stipulate the roads that you can go on. In this case, we would say it's okay to go on Hawks Avenue. But the main reason for the permit is they get your insurance policy. You have to give them your insurance policy. So if you start doing damage to the road, your insurance company is going to pay for repairing the road. That's the whole idea of, they just want to know who you are and who your insurance company is. And I get them every year for Shelburne and Benson.
And don't they tell you what road you can go on because of the bridges too?
Yes. We can specify which road.
They go on because of underweight bridge or something.
Yes, we can specify which roads it is okay for this permit to be used on.
Yeah, right.
But the whole idea is they know who your insurance carrier is and that you have adequate insurance coverage.
Any other comments on this one? All right, I believe that finishes up the major agenda items tonight. We are now at other business. Dave, do you have other business?
Just briefly, and I'll take this up as I'm looking at Howard Park. I received a phone call request to rent the second floor of the firehouse for some group from, I believe they were from Bennington, wanted to have 25 plus people at a meeting, which I'm sure that can't hold that, but it's along the same lines of developing some rules about what we're going to allow people to do. So I'll just take that up along with the park to have some firm rules for that. It's even if the firemen get to that, they were trying to call the firemen, but they said that they left a message today, and apparently they're in a rush to do this, but I'll just start incorporating some rules for building use. Well, we have rules for building uses, and that would be a clear violation. So I'll just firm those up a little bit. But people are beginning to ask. I'm not sure. I think we have to have the rules because apparently they're being turned down by other people. So
Yeah, I was going to say the Bennington firehouse is even bigger. Why would they be coming here? I'd like to find out from Stu what they've done. Could you do that? Find out what Shaftsbury or what Bennington's policy is, especially for the firehouse.
Yeah, I have a bunch of their policies. Yeah, and we're trying to get on board because the last group that took Howard Park came to us because Bennington wouldn't let them have it. So that's what we don't want to be in the position of taking all the groups that are being turned down by somebody else. And that's all I have for tonight.
Does anyone else have other business they would like to bring up?
Yeah, I'd like to, Dave, at the West Mountain Road, where you come up by the apple orchard,
Yeah.
and then down the hill on the backside, around that corner, I would say maybe a quarter of a mile south of there, on the right-hand side. You know if they're going to be cleaning that ditch up the hill?
I'll have to ask Mike. I don't know if that's on the list.
Okay.
That's up.
And they really do that. I think they're supposed to have French drain and put in there too.
Okay. I'll bring it up with Mike.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I have is I think the full board should be aware of the progress or lack thereof on our consideration of expanding the roadside commercial district north through the village. Our last proposal was that mainly the west side of 7A from West Mountain to around Depot Road approximately be incorporated into roadside commercial, with the thought that it is essentially instituting what is already there. There's a lot of commercial zoning there. We've expressed concern that most, if not all, of the commercial enterprises we have along there are grandfathered, and if they go away, they would not be allowed to come back under current zoning. We've gone back and forth with the Planning Commission a couple of times on this. The Planning Commission has been listening to our discussion. There's various opinions, I believe, on the Planning Commission about how anxious they are to see roadside commercial expanded. There was a meeting recently at the Planning Commission that brought in a lot of the residents along that road. Art was at that meeting. I was not at that meeting. I read the minutes from that meeting. Art, would you like to characterize what you heard there?
Well, in my opinion, the sad thing is that they never discussed. A motion was never made and discussed. The whole meeting got carried away by the fact that some people had trouble finding the website to see this meeting on, and it got into the point where we were being accused of not giving everybody their democratic due process because we were doing this in secret, which was not true or anything. And so they wanted, I think the motion was finally made to give the planning board would not discuss it for 4 meetings for 2 months, and that in the meantime, they would do a better job of advertising the video conferencing part of it so people could get onto it easier and all that sort of stuff. Though the sad part was they never discussed an actual motion or anything. The whole meeting was about how we aren't doing a very good job of letting people know.
So the key thing that Art said there in my mind is that the Planning Commission has decided to not discuss this any further for a couple of months. And the point there was to better publicize Planning Commission meetings. Was that what that was, Art?
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of discussion on how it wasn't on the website, and it wasn't here, and it wasn't there, and that we didn't have the right license and all that sort of stuff. That the entire meeting was taken up by that, and nothing to do with with a motion by the planning board.
What I'm going to suggest, and I've mentioned this before, is that if it is the case that the Planning Commission is not inclined to act on a recommendation from the Select Board has it in their power to act on their own in moving forward with hearings and a vote on a zoning issue. And I'm not there yet, but I think I'm getting close to the point where I'm thinking that that's where we are here. The Planning Commission has, we first asked them to look into this, and their recommendation was don't do it. And they sort of threw us a consolation prize, which was some roadside commercials to the south of town, which we all decided was not really usable land, and we didn't want to pursue that. And I think, let's all also remember that when I say that we can act on our own, I, of course, don't mean that at all, because we can't act on our own to change zoning bylaws in this town. All zoning bylaws changes are voted on by the public. So if it's our inclination to see the roadside commercial is extended toward the north end of the town, I'm starting to think it's something we're going to have to do on our own. I got to say, I don't agree with the Planning Commission's decision to stop talking about something because there was objections to that. I don't think that's the way we normally do things. And so I'd be curious for other opinions. Dorothy, we're not going to take any more public comments tonight. This is really the wrap up, and we're going to, I'm just kind of letting the selectmen know where we stand on this issue and if they want to chime in on it.
No, I'm not available to speak at all in the public meeting.
The public comment section was at the early part of the meeting.
Isn't that nice?
Any other comments from selectmen?
I do. As much as I want this to happen, I have a problem with having a board that we give them an assignment or something to do, and then we override them. I would rather let it go through their due process. But again, I'm saying that I'm frustrated. I think it should happen, but I really don't like the idea of the selectmen overriding a board that we put together and give them a job to do and that sort of stuff.
I'm looking at it this way. I agree that I think it's almost totally commercial now. All we'd be doing is filling in the blanks, and we're not doing it. We give them a chance to do it. And the voters have still got to approve it or disapprove it. I mean, they've had their chance to do it. If they don't want to do it, then I think it's up to us to do it. And bring it before the voters. That's all I got.
Well, if unless someone wants to make a motion, I think we should just think on this. A couple of things to keep in mind is November vote is probably we've probably waited too long to do anything about it by November. There's a lot of steps, a lot of hearings that have to go into a bylaws change. And if my memory serves, 6 months is about the minimum amount of time that you need to jump through all those hoops. So if we're going to think about doing this in March, then we need to, start moving forward with it in, I guess, September or October, November, December. Yeah. So maybe October is when we need to start deciding that this needs to move forward. If Planning Commission is deciding now that they're not going to talk about it for 2 months,
That brings you up to the first.
they could be looking at it again in early October, and if they make a decision then to move forward with it, I think we're probably good. If their decision in October is to start over with analyzing this or doing a lot of research, we wouldn't make the March vote possibly. And I'm not saying that if the Planning Commission comes back and says we want to do some research, I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm just saying in terms of time frame, that's where we would be.
I agree, Jim. I think we don't have any clear direction. It seems to be really confused out there. So I think we ought to wait.
Okay. Well, let's. All right, we'll take it under advisement. If someone wants to see this move forward, let me know. We'll put it on the agenda. Otherwise, it sounds like we will be sitting on our hands with the Planning Commission for a couple of months. That takes us to review of action items. Let me go through my list here. I have an action item to talk to Joan, Tony, and Ken about what happened in our meeting with North Bennington Water Department recently. Let's see. Dave is going to adjust the schedule, and I'm going to sign the engineering service agreement with Dufresne relative to the Phase 1 water main replacement.
Actually,
Dave has. been approved to go forward with the RFP for the Howard Park Drainage Project. Dave is going to develop usage rules for Howard Park for town buildings like the firehouse for people to have meetings in. And also he's going to check and see how Bennington is handling that. I think you said, Dave, you've already talked to Bennington about
Yeah, their rules are pretty much the straight CDC guidelines and things. I talked with Paul about it too when we were doing the first thing, and he was helpful getting me information regarding it. So we'll look good. We'll have something by next week. Just one correction on the agreement. I'll be signing the agreement through all the documents. I'm the representative of the town, and the point of contact, the state point of contact.
Oh, okay. All right. And then Dina was going to send me the list of all the projects that volunteers are tackling out at Howard Park. Did anybody hear anything else that we promised to do?
A while back, we were going to put a water fountain in the park on Cleveland Avenue, the Village Park. I don't know if that ever solidified into anything or not. I know they voted on it.
It turned out to be quite expensive because the main is on the other side of the street, and the only place to tap into it was in the residence on the north side. Because the main, we'd have to bring a line across the street from the main. So we'd have to tap into the water line that goes to the house service on the north side of the park. And it kind of ended there, Joe. That's kind of the last we did anything about it.
It was really well.
Dave, what's the rules on COVID for water fountains? Are we even allowed to have one, or does somebody have to sanitize it every so often?
Yeah, no, ours aren't even set up. The one we have one. Doesn't work now. Yeah, it's and in our case, it does just boil down to if it's, and to be clear, our pavilion, the bathrooms are never really open. We only open for special events. And most of that time was when soccer was there, which isn't there anymore. We can open them for minor events and lock them up. But if you have an extended time and people are going in and out of it, they're supposed to be cleaned during the course of the event. And that's where we get into the problem. If I could open it and just lock it and clean it the next day, that would be one thing. But as you have people coming in and out, and because it's a park, you have transients potentially not involved with that group, you're supposed to be cleaning the hard surfaces, the touch surfaces all the time. And that, of course, we don't have the ability to do.
Okay.
That's why we don't have the porta potty there this year for the bathroom, so that when the facilities are closed, because there's no realistic way of keeping that clean to the current standards.
Yeah, would you explain to me why the state closed all their information places and put porta potties for people to use? That, to me, just blew my mind.
I don't know. I can't figure that one out myself. Because you have to clean those. That's the problem. They're worse than having the facility.
That's right. I don't know.
Nobody likes to clean a porta potty.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ken, second by Art. Rather than go through the roll, I will ask, does anyone have an objection to want to vote no to adjourning? Hearing none, we stand adjourned.